Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Grow Within Video, where every week we sit down with one member from the InVideo community who's an expert in one key area, and we call them on the show so we can pick their brains and kind of bring you extremely actionable, implementable insights that you can apply for your business from the word go. Right. My name's Abhilash. I lead the community here at InVideo, and I'm also your host for most of these episodes. Right. A lot of you guys know me already, and if you don't, please feel free to reach out to me on the community. I'm there 24/7. Today we've got a very special show that we've lined up for you. What we are covering today is something that I've been wanting to do for a while because I feel like it's the crown jewel in what any modern marketer is leveraging, especially the bigger brands, especially anyone who's looking at using Facebook for getting revenue numbers, right? And who is using Facebook to generate ROI and not just create fans or drive awareness. Uh, we are going to talk about Facebook Pixel and everything and anything that you need to know to implement it for your brand, as well as leverage it via remarketing, right? Like I said, we actually do that day in and day out here at InVideo. That's primarily one of the ways how we generate paying customers here at InVideo. I feel like for anyone who is looking to leverage Facebook to get customers and get users who can pay them eventually, I think it's absolutely essential and it's super useful. And we've got one of the best people that we could get our hands on to kind of come and talk about this. We've got Pam Curry in the house. Pam is the owner of Vibrant Marketing. She has also helped a ton of people over the years, a ton of businesses over the years, leverage Facebook marketing to generate ROI for their businesses via paid traffic, right? So she's an expert at that, and she's here to take us through this, right? So without further ado, what I'm going to do is I'm going to get Pam Curry onto the show. Hey, Pam.
Woohoo! Hello, how's it going?
Good. How have you been?
All is good. And I just want to give a fair warning. And Avlash, I'm going to need your help. I
Sure.
talk very fast. So I'm going to need you to help me slow it down for some people because we're
Don't
going to
worry
be
about
diving
it.
into today.
Absolutely don't worry about it. That's essentially where I'm coming from as well. So if anyone's not going to be able to catch on, they definitely are not going to catch on with everything that I say, right? So we are actually in the same boat that way. But yeah, I mean, I know I've already introduced you, but do you want to tell us a bit about what is it that you do? How is it that you became an expert on Facebook marketing, and why are you here to talk about the Facebook Pixel?
Yeah, okay. Well, I'll start off for the first part. So people do not jump off. If you want to save money and make more money, you want to listen up because it's the pixel that's actually going to get you there. So how I actually got into this world is I moved to Toronto in 2012. I started my own dog walking and pet sitting business. So I had to learn how to create a website, how to do everything. And then I start learning about paid traffic, and I just loved that kind of part of everything that went with it. Seeing amazing results for myself. I fell into Rick Mulready's funnel about Facebook ads and how you learn how to become a Facebook ads manager, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Went through that, got myself a first few clients, and I've been hooked and addicted on everything paid traffic and messenger marketing ever since.
So I know that you have a penchant for learning, and I know that you basically feed off of that, right? Which is insane. So I'm so glad that we could essentially get you on the show. But without further ado, I know that we've got a lot of ground to cover because there's so much that needs to be learned around Facebook itself. But hands up, what I'm going to start with is the very foundation of how you can implement a Facebook pixel on the website. Right now, I know we use it out and out, but I am as clueless as everyone else who's tuning in right now in terms of where do you get the Facebook code from, the pixel code from, and how do you actually go and implement it on your website. So, should we just take people through that? I know you sent me a couple of videos. Do you want me to play one of them?
Yeah, so just before you play the first video, I just want to let people know it's literally going to show you what Ablash is going to see now. It's going to show you how you take the piece of code from Facebook, pop it on your website and it's going to be done as quick as what we got, Avlash, 2 minutes there, I think the video is, and we're going to be set up.
Approximately, yes.
Yeah.
So we're going to run through that, and then we're going to come back to Pam, and we're going to ask her any questions that we could have, right? And so you can keep popping in your questions in the chat window. I know I could potentially have a few questions, Pam, so I'm going to trouble you on that. But yeah, let's actually play the video. Before I do that, I see a couple of old timers that have joined in. So hey, David, thank you so much for showing up. Absolutely, I'm looking forward to learn some amazing stuff from Pam as well. There's Payal, who's basically helping me on the show. We've got Hamza, who's basically joining in. Awesome. So let's actually go and play the video. Okay, here's the video.
Okay, so let's go. Okay, so let's go and have a look where we're going to get our pixel code. So you're going to navigate to business.facebook.com. You might be brought to another screen just before this one is to click on your business manager if it has set up or you have multiple accounts. And because I can't show you my client information, stuff like that, we're just going to start here. Okay, so you're at business.facebook.com. So if you have the new layout, you might have it over here. So we might look at Events Manager. If not, you're going to click on the menu up here, and then we're going to look for Events Manager. So we're going to click on this here. Okay, so now we want to create a new pixel. So we're going to connect the data source. We're going to say web and click get started. We're going to click on the Facebook pixel, click connect, enter a name for your pixel. I want to call Flowers by D, and we're going to pop in the website as well. And click continue. So here we have the two options that are going to pop up. So it just depending on what you use for your website. But today, just for this part here, we're just going to have a look at the manual pixel code. So we're going to say install manual, and we're going to copy code, and then we're going to hop over now to the website. Okay, so just going to show you what it's going to look like for a WordPress site. So I've just logged in. I want you to come over, go to your plugins, and we're going to go add new. We're going to search for HFCM, which stands for Header Footer Code Manager. So I will just update it now because I already have it installed. So you want to activate this and follow the next steps. So then we're going to go over to our HFCM. We're going to go add new snippet. We're going to call it the Facebook pixel, because just in case you have all the other random codes, like you might have your Google Analytics, Google Ads, that kind of stuff in here. So yeah, we want to have a site-wide. So because we're just installing the general pixel, we're going to go site-wide. There will be specific cases where you're going to need to do specific posts or pages. So we don't need to exclude any pages. We're going to pop it into the header, and let's paste that in there, and I'm going to click save. Okay, so now the pixel is there. We want to see what it looks like actually, just to make sure it's installed on the website. Okay, so we have installed the pixel base code on our website. So next step is we want to make sure that it's actually there and it's recording. So you're going to come over to Google Pixel Helper. So it will pop it. So you're in here, you're coming to the Chrome store. So I already have it installed, but you're going to add it to Chrome. Once you add it there, it's going to pop up here on your toolbar. So it's this symbol here. So we're going to then go to our website that we installed it on. Let's hit refresh. And there we go. Let's click on this. Okay, so there we go. There is the actual pixel that I have installed on the website. And here's the one that we're using for Flowers by D. The reason I'm just popping it on here to show you is because Flowers by D is actually on a Shopify store. So you'll see in the next module what it's like in the Shopify store. So here we go. We're able to verify that Flowers by D pixel is installed correctly. So we can just go back now into the Facebook account.
Awesome.
Super complicated, huh?
Yeah. That is super complicated. So everyone who's watching, if that is a lot of information to take in, right off the bat, we are going to publish these videos on the Facebook community. That's one of the reasons why it's really useful that Pam actually created these videos for us beforehand, because you can actually access these videos on the community and you can go through the steps at your own pace, right? But okay, Pam, I'm just going to request you to be available on the community so people can tag you there and you can just answer any questions that they may have with regards to the installation.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
so
perfect.
epic. I also see a couple of more people that have joined in here. I see Saurabh has joined in. Hey Saurabh, thanks a lot for joining in. William has joined us from France. So William, welcome to the show. I hope you take back a lot of value from this. Okay, so once the pixel is installed, I think these instructions are something that you can also find online, and it's relatively straightforward. Once you get down to the task, right? But as we can clearly see, this is not something that will need you to know how to code, right? I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions that people have, wherein they feel like if you have to know how to install the Facebook pixel onto your website, you need to know how to code, right? Now, there are two categories of people that I know distinctively exist. One is the set of people who create their own websites and things like that. So they are slightly more hands-on on WordPress. So we just showed them how they can do that on WordPress or Shopify. But I know there's a set of people who don't manage their own websites, right? They've got someone to do that for them. So in that case, guys, all you have to do is you can still go to your Facebook ads account and get your pixel generated and send that snippet over to your website manager, right? And they will take care of the rest. It's super easy for them to do. They will already know how they can install it and they can take care of it from there. Is that correct, Pam?
Yeah, and I have all the videos, everything that we're going to go through today compiled in a mini training. And I also show them then how to grab it and email it. So there was just one step that we didn't show there where you can say email the pixel and you enter in your web developer's email address and he has everything he needs to get going with. So that's covered in there, even for the people who get overwhelmed by the tech and stuff like that.
Awesome. So just a heads up, we are not just going to release these videos, but we also have a foundations course by Pam that we are going to share at the end of the show, right? That literally covers everything that we are discussing right now. Everything that we are going to talk about on the show is also something that you will be able to learn step by step. It's a course that Pam has put together. We are going to give that out completely free of cost for everyone who's going to stay with us till the end of the show, right? Okay, awesome. So we have a couple of questions coming in already. So we've got Mark who's joined us from the Philippines. Hey, Mark, thanks for joining in. We've got William who wants to know, is a pixel only useful if you're running FB ads or is it good for organic traffic as well? I think that's a brilliant question and I'll let you take the lead there. I know the answer, but I can almost see you itching to answer that.
Yeah, because this is always the one. I don't need the Facebook pixel. I'm not doing any advertising and I'm not doing anything now, but that's not what it's about. You need to get the pixel onto your website so Facebook starts learning about people and what they do on your website. So then when there will be some point that you will need ads, whether you see it now or not, you want to grow your business, you can do it very affordably because of the pixel. So say we have the pixel on our website now and we don't start advertising until next year. That's actually really best case scenario because your pixel has a whole year to learn about who's going to buy from me, who's going to sign up for my webinar. So then when it comes to actually doing your ads, you could say, hey, Facebook, go find me people like these people who sign up for my webinar or who buy my stuff. And then it does the hard work for you instead of you spending thousands and thousands to try and find the audience and try and say, oh, were they the right people for me? So it's all about getting the data and getting your pixel seasoned.
Awesome. So just to add to that, right, the more time that you give Facebook pixel to kind of mature and collect that data, the more beneficial it's going to be. So for anyone who is even considering Facebook, leveraging Facebook from a marketing standpoint, let alone paid or organic, right? One of the first things that you would want to do is not start putting out posts there, but actually put up the pixel for the simple reason that you would want to track a whole bunch of events, right? And we're going to actually go over that next in terms of all the events that you can track. But the idea is every single purchase that happens on your website, every single click that happens on your website, if someone signs up for the webinar, if someone gives you their contact information, all of that can be captured at Facebook's end. And what it can do is it can actually match other people who look exactly like that. So they can actually do it at two levels. One is that they can actually retarget the same set of people on Facebook. That's essentially how a lot of you probably have experienced Facebook showing you ads about products that you have checked out on Google or on other Shopify stores, right? But on the other hand, the insane thing about Facebook is that it will take that one level up, and it will actually try and find out and match other people via lookalike audiences who can match the exact same criteria. And that's where you can really scale your ads, and that's where you can start looking at getting conversions without even having the data for those people, right? So we're also going to touch upon lookalike audiences in the last segment. But okay, before we get there, Pam, do you want to quickly take us through the different kind of events that Facebook allows you to track and build information on?
Yeah, so I'll just share my screen here and just show people how easy it is to see the events that Facebook can track. So let me just do this. So
I know you have a video for this as well, but it's too big for us to actually play it here. But I'm going to upload that as well on the community. So don't worry about it, guys. You will have this in the form of a video.
Okay, so I don't know. Is my screen up there now?
Yes, your screen is up there.
Okay, so we're in our events manager where we just left off with the pixel setup. So we're going to come in here, add events. So we're going to say from a new website, we're going to follow the next step. So we've done our code bit and we have it installed. And here is the email instructions that we were just talking about, that you could pop it off to the web developer. So we're just going to click continue. So this is where it does not involve any code. So we're going to click on the Open Event Setup tool. So I'll just pop my website in here. Ooh. Okay, so then you pop in your website address, what you want to use for your custom events. So you can see here this little window comes up. So we have the option to track a button or track a URL. So if we were to say, let's track a URL, so let's have a look at the different events that you can actually track using the pixel. So here we go. So a lot of them are self-explanatory. So we have like the add to cart. So when somebody adds a cart, when somebody goes ahead and says, okay, I want to purchase, so they're doing the initiate checkout. A lead, so that would be like if you have a webinar or what kind of stuff. So when somebody lands on the thank you page, you would say, okay, well, there we go. We're going to mark them as a lead. When somebody completes a purchase, adds their payment information, add to the wish list, like the list goes on and on. So like complete registration, somebody who reaches a contact form and fills it out, and somebody who customizes the product, somebody who donates on the side. They look up your location to find where you are. They make schedule an appointment. They complete a search. They start a trial. They submit the application. They subscribe, or they view your content. So the view content is the general one that you would say, okay, let's pop out and have on the entire site. So the one thing that I just want to really make sure that nobody makes the mistake is do not use URL equals no matter what we're tracking. We want to use URL contains, because you don't know what might be attached to it. So it might be HTTP if it didn't go secure. So I always delete it and I go with this. So say I'm just doing here, we're doing a view content. I'm going to track everybody on the entire website for the view content. So I would click confirm. And here it is. So it's not yet set up. This is just showing me, okay, I have that one tracked. So say if this was a contact page and I would say, okay, I want to track a button. So say this is our submit button, or this is register now. I would just click on the button and I'm going to say, okay, well, say this is a lead, somebody who is taking the action that we would mark as a lead. So it's really important that you define as yourself, as your business owner, the website owner, what you want to attract. So if you want it to be a lead, you need to have that defined, that that's what a lead is. So you know your data is good and it's accurate for where you go. So then you would hit confirm. So the same for everything else. Another one that I would say for your track URL, you would say if somebody completed like a registration and we're coming here and the registration page, say, is a thank you page. So we would do URL contains thank you. So that's, it's just the simple things like that. And then when you have tagged up your whole website, so you can literally go from page to page and this will stay up. So you can go through your whole page. You don't need to know any code, any nothing. And all you do then is hit finish setup. We can see them here and hit finish and you're done. We're back into the pixel. So it's really simple, really easy to do and doesn't involve any technical stuff.
Got it. That's awesome. So, I mean, this is actually one of the first times that I'm looking at the whole spectrum of options that you have there available. I'm actually very sure that my ads person knows all of this, but just to be able to look at the magnitude of things that you can do via the Facebook pixel in itself is surprising, right? Now, I'm actually going to talk about a couple of real life instances, and I wanted to kind of just go back and forth with you about this so people understand how you can use these different events, right? So the simplest example of this and something that we use here at InVideo is if someone goes and signs up for a free account, right? We have a trial account, someone goes and signs up for that. What we would ideally want to do is if we are running a promotional offer or if we are running a promo code, or if you just want to kind of reach out to them again and remind them of the fact that, hey, you can get XYZ if you pay, if you get on a paid plan with us. We actually do that via remarketing, and the very reason or the very crux of how we are able to do that is that information gets captured via the Facebook pixel, right? That's number one. That's actually one of the simplest ways that we do this, but it's super powerful. In fact, I mean, a huge chunk of our revenue and business actually depends on that. But Pam, could you tell us a few more examples of how you've seen people leverage this over the years? I know you work with a lot of consultants, so you can probably give us a few examples of that.
Yes, so I have a client who runs a monthly boot camp, and we do the whole funnel from just video ads. So we do video ads all the way, so it's perfect for you guys to kind of see how it works. So what I do is we set up our video at the top of the funnel. It's the awareness, it's hey, sign up for the webinar, all that kind of stuff. So once somebody watches that and they haven't completed their registration, they went to the website, but they didn't actually sign up. So then we have them pixeled that they didn't hit the thank you page for it. So we're able to say, okay, so the people who landed on the page but didn't sign up, let's show them the ad that says literally, hey, don't forget to sign up. But so that's the top of the funnel and just getting the people to register. But where the magic happens is retargeting the people who turned up to the webinar. So then we would do very similar to what InVideo does. We have a complete video funnel series that would start out where they attended the webinar. Here's your testimonial because you've seen the first video, and just moving your way down. And we would also use, they got to the landing page, they added to cart, but they didn't purchase and all that kind of stuff. So the amount of money that is made in the retargeting is night and day between the actual, just say the sales ad. Say it's the ad that's saying, hey, go purchase this. That actually doesn't make the sales compared to the retargeting. And the retargeting ads are actually a hell of a lot cheaper. So you're getting the conversions and the sales really cheap compared to, hey, buy my product, because nobody really makes the purchase on the first one. But you know they're interested. They went to your sales page, they seen your product, but life just got in the way or it just wasn't for them. But then they start to see the proof. They start to see, oh my God, look at the results these people are getting. They're learning more about the benefits and they're taking action on those ones. And because of the pixel, we're able to track the sales and the leads and all that kind of stuff and attribute them to most of the retargeting ads. Like the top of, like the sales do well, but it's all in the retargeting and using the pixel to get the sales, because most people will tell you, oh, Facebook ads don't work. And it's probably because they just did the boost, or they did the one ad and they didn't really use the pixel to help them even find the people in the first place. So it's all about using it all together, because that's where you will actually see the money rolling in very cheap, because you only need to use the reach objective when it's coming to that, instead of paying for the landing page views and all that kind of stuff.
And something that you just told me struck a chord, and that's something that I also put in the introduction. A lot of people run Facebook ads and they never see ROI on that, right? They never see a single sale coming in from that. They never see any revenue. And the primary reason for that, and this is something that I have spoken about from the point of view of an ad creation perspective, right? I obviously haven't spoken about it in the context of the pixel or in terms of remarketing, but I have spoken about the concept of how you can't really get people to buy at the first go, right? There will be some people who will do it, but that's actually just like a byproduct, right? When we actually run ads, we don't really, we don't really necessarily vouch for the fact that someone will buy it at the first go for a whole bunch of reasons, right? Because you are apprehensive about things you don't necessarily like. You actually park things for later. If it's a subscription, it's going to get charged every month, so you're not really sure. Like, think about when you got a Netflix subscription for yourself, right? You did not just make that purchase right on the first ad that you saw. You probably waited it out for a couple of more times for that to happen. Then you examined the pros and cons, and that's when you made the purchase. So that's essentially where the pixel comes in and becomes so crucial, because otherwise you're just going to go after newer audiences every single time, right? And there is absolutely no way for you to retarget people who have engaged with your top of the funnel content, right? So I think that in itself should vouch for how important this is. We've got a couple of questions here that I just want to run through very quickly. Okay, so second, there's so much content that keeps coming up. Okay, good. Mark wants to know, how do you season a Facebook pixel, and how many months to wait until it's seasoned enough to use that data?
So it all depends on. Yeah, sorry, I jumped in there right away. So it really does all depend on the amount of traffic and data you're giving it. So it does take the more data you give it, the more you will have the results and the outcomes. So I would say just get it up and get it going. So the more data you send it, the more it's going to help and it's going to optimize. So it's going to be different for absolutely everybody. But that's the importance of, like, if you don't do anything today, you go onto your website back end and you just get that pixel going no matter what.
Correct. So we actually had another Facebook expert, Jordan Platten, on the show a few months ago, and something that he said right off the bat is that whenever someone goes to him to consult about their Facebook marketing strategy, one of the first things that he will do is he'll basically get their Facebook pixel installed. Right? It's criminal to run any ads, to spend even a single dollar on ads, unless you've actually gotten your pixel implemented, because otherwise you will just lose out on that data. And hey, the best part is that you can actually accelerate that process of building your audience via top of the funnel ads, right? So for example, and again, Pam will be a better person to talk about this, but I know this is something that she also does, is that you actually leverage video view ads, right, at the top of the funnel, and you actually get, because they end up being cheaper and a lot of people interact with them, wherein you just make people aware of your product and what your proposition could be and get them engaged there, so that later on you can then put a direct purchase ad to them, right? And that's how you can actually build a pretty decent sized pool at the top of the funnel that you can then retarget with your remarketing ads. Is that correct, Pam?
Yeah, that's correct. And another thing I would say to you is, don't only do ads when you're building up to wanting to sell. Like, you're best off doing, like what Abhilash said there, video funnels all the way. I use them in every single campaign just to create awareness. So if they're just learning about your business, you're just talking about problems that they have, and just start serving them up. You can get video views for less than a cent, and then say, okay, the person who watched video A, they watch 50%, show them video B, and then you're building your custom audiences in the background. So then, as you said, like, once it gets going and you want to buy, you have people who already know who you are, instead of like trying to educate them who you are and also saying, oh, please buy, and then, hello, this is me. And you need to be consistent. Like $5 a day throw out for your video ads, even less. just all year round, so people can start building your audience. So then it becomes cheaper again for your launches or your product sales, depending
And I
on
think
what your business is.
it's also important to give Facebook the due time that it needs. So when you basically want to, so let's say you start running ads when you are looking to get purchases, what you would usually do is you have a cap in terms of the amount of time that you can give Facebook, right? And if you're going to force Facebook to basically match you with the right audience, it's going to do that nevertheless. Facebook's going to take your money, right? So what you would want to do is take a step back and actually optimize for the exact kind of target audience that you would want, and that can only happen when you actually change when you turn the table and actually put the onus on Facebook that, hey, here's the daily spend limit that you have. Now why don't you go and find me the right set of people? And that's when Facebook will basically go and get you like probably the most optimal fit, as opposed to just pushing in people who are 50%, who are a 50% match, who are probably a 20% match. Correct, Pam? Like you can correct me if I'm wrong. This is just something that I'm talking about basis our experience here at InVideo.
Yeah, so basically you're doing the learning for Facebook and giving them you're educating the pixel of this is what I want, instead of trying to let Facebook algorithm go and say, oh, maybe this is who they're looking for, and throwing the money out and reaching the wrong people, but getting the right people. Like Facebook algorithm will get there, but it's going to cost you a lot of money if you're going to try and do it yourself without providing any data or information, like using the pixel.
Got it. We actually have a couple of other questions, and since they're related to the topic, I'm just going to pick them up right now. Joe wants to know, how is the best way to determine an FP audience if you're brand new and the Facebook pixel is in season? Okay, so Joe, this is more of a question around targeting rather than remarketing. But again, like we said, Pam just answered that. What you would want to do is you would want to continue building that audience around the year, or you can actually accelerate that process via top of the funnel ads. But word of caution there, if you are looking to just out and out start leveraging Facebook ads, your cost of acquisition might be slightly higher in the beginning, right? But that's okay, because you could, where you weren't getting any revenue or any sales whatsoever, you're still getting some amount of revenue. But I can vouch for the fact that CAC will keep going down as you keep building that audience and as you educate the pixel about the right set of people that it should go after. Do you want to add anything to that, Pam?
I would just say the easiest and cheapest way is to use video to do it, because you can just throw out you can cast your wide net and just choose one broad interest and say in your video, and you use the hook at the beginning, you've got this problem or you experience in this, talk about it. So you've got the people at the start, and then we target the people who've watched, say, 25% of that video, and then start nurturing them and moving them along. It's the easiest way to do it.
Got it. Thanks, Mark, for the compliment. We appreciate the fact that this is being super useful. Okay, so moving on to the next question, Pam. We've covered the different events that you can have the pixel track. We've also spoken a bit about the use cases, right? But I wanted to now, segue into retargeting and how do you combine the pixel data with retargeting, right? I know we've already spoken about that for a bit, but could you essentially tell me your strategy for when you do this for consultants? I know you work for a couple of big creators as well. I know we have one creator that we both know, which is Bella, and we worked with her on multiple campaigns. But could you take us through the process of how do you, once you have your pixel set up, if any client comes to you and says that, okay, you know what, I'm looking to do XYZ. This is my conversion event. So let's say I want to get people to come and watch a video live, right? How does that pan out? What is your strategy at the top of the funnel, and how do you basically run a remarketing ad?
Okay, so basically, if I just understood you right, because as I know we've covered a lot, if I want to say get people through to watch a webinar, video training, or something like that, so I would say initially it's all going to go wrong if you don't have the objective set up right at the top. So say if you want to get people to register for a webinar and that's all you're going for straight at the top, you want to be optimizing for traffic And where I see, as I kind of spoke about earlier on, is getting people to kind of raise their hand, show their interest based on either the video views they've landed on the page. So then I want to be able to use the pixel that I've already got installed on the thank you page. Let's say we've kind of run this before. We know the people who are more likely to take action. So when I'm setting it up, and then I'm actually optimizing for conversions, I will say to Facebook, hey, Facebook, go find me the people like we tagged with the button that time, or whatever way we're going to say. I'll say, I want you to go find me people who are likely to take this action. So if you do it that way, Facebook isn't going to show it to people who are going to like, comment, or share your video, because there's the people who just do that. They're the people who just watch videos. But we're like, okay, we want you to find the action takers. So go find me the people who we already know who takes this action, and go present my ad to them. So that's always the best thing to do, is optimize for what you actually want, and say, use the pixel data to be saying, this is what I want, go find them for me. So that's the best part to be able to do, is gather the data and then use it back and say, hey, Facebook, go find them for me.
Got it. So talking about something that you just mentioned, which is hand raiser content, right? And we have had a couple of people come on the show before where, you know, they've spoken about this. But just for everyone who's tuning in here, right? The concept of hand raiser content is fairly simple. You create a piece of content upfront on the top of at the top of the funnel for people who have never possibly heard about your brand, right? You create a piece of content that's going to meet them where they are and is super engaging for them, so that they can basically consume it and engage with it, right? Now, this serves two purposes. One is that you basically established some form of common ground with them, so that they can, you know, when you show them an offer ad, they will at least remember what your brand proposition is, right? And two is it actually lets them tell you that they're ready for you to, you know, sell to them, right? So you can actually then show them a purchase ad, a purchase oriented ad, and you know that they're ready for it because you've already kind of gotten that data from Facebook. So it's a way for you to create content that will tell you if someone's ready for you know, an offer ad or not. And that is what makes all the difference. So the difference between someone who is getting ROI from Facebook and the difference between someone who isn't is that the person who isn't is basically showing the same form of content to everyone under the sun, right? And I've seen this happen time and again, and I talk about this all the time. Whereas on the other hand, someone who's basically nailing it is someone who probably has retargeted them a dozen times, right? So you like there are brands, and we also do that. We will basically put up a frequency of 3, 4, 5, right? So the first piece of content that we show them is top of the funnel. Anyone who's consumed, let's say 50, you know, we'll basically show them 4 variations of remarketing ads after that, because we know that this person's interested. This person has actually engaged with this piece of content, right? So they are your lowest hanging fruit, and that's how you'll have to filter them. So I hope that kind of sets the premise for a lot of people who are watching this show. That's primarily the logic, and it's very simple if you like, you know, understand it once. But other than the tactical things, I think that's the logic, and that's where InVideo also comes in very handy, because it actually enables you to create, to spend a lot of time. So if something isn't working, you can actually reiterate and you can change it, right? Pam, I also wanted to quickly brush up on the importance of iterating enough, right? Because now that we've spoken about this framework and about how you can run a video view ad on the top of the funnel and then you can remarket them, a lot of people probably are thinking that, hey, okay, perfect. So I need 2 ads and then I'm just going to run them and I'm going to hit home and I'm going to get a lot of conversions. We both know that that's not true. So I also want to address that so that people have the full picture. So do you want to tell, do you want to talk a bit about how many versions do you usually run or how many times do you iterate?
Yeah, so it is a funnel. It's not the way it kind of works. So generally what I would do, I would have 4 top of the funnel videos talking about different types of issues. So you know your customers, you know their objections, their worries, what they're actually looking for help with. So that's the one that I use to say, okay, I need help. And then I would show them a value video, something that's going to give them, they watch that, they're going to see another video, more content, more stuff that's kind of nurturing them along the way. It could even be down to 10 videos long. on my retargeting, depending on some of my clients and what their kind of work is. But generally, you will at least have 4 to 5 steps. It's not something quick, something easy, but it's like, as you said, it's quick to find out what's not working. So say you're building your audience and you see the filtering through, and then you're like, okay, well, nobody's taking action on this video or this piece of information if you're sending them to the website. So it is a lot of testing, and that again comes back to Facebook ads don't work, is because people do it once and they're like, oh, that didn't work. You got to test. So that's what, like, you do stuff, look at people who are similar in your field, go to their Facebook page, see what ads they're running. And that kind of gives you a head start to know what's working, especially if the ad has been running a long time. So then you can do something similar in your version to be able to help your funnel optimize quicker. But it does take time unless your messaging and everything is on point. So just be willing to test, guys, because if you get through the testing, and the testing generally anywhere up to 3 months, once you get past that, you're on the home straight.
Also, a small input here is a lot of people would at this point in time be thinking, how do we basically pull the plug on something, right? So if I'm running 4 variations, how do I test out that one is working over the other? So a simple thumb rule there is your your customer lifetime value ratio, right? So your cost of acquisition and your customer lifetime value. So how you can quantify this, and we had Samantha Pilling on the show a few weeks ago, and she actually spoke about this, right? How you will quantify that is, look, if your product's value is $50, and if you figured out that you can spend $10 to basically acquire a user who pays you $50, and these are just random numbers at this point in time, but you need to know those numbers for your business. Now, once you know those numbers, you know that you can only spend about $10, right? Now, if you're going to be able to spend $10, it's not going to start with $10 because you will have to basically give Facebook that benefit of doubt, and you'll have to, spend some time getting to that point where it starts optimizing for $10. But let's say it's at $20 right now, you can put an upper cap in terms of the fact that, hey, whatever happens, I'm not going to spend more than 50% of my total revenue in acquiring this user, right? In fact, in some cases, I know brands would actually go up to spend 100% of the value of the product, right? Initially, when they're actually, testing things out and optimizing things, just so they can accelerate that process, because, you're reinvesting it into the business, right? So your initial 2 or 3 months is just that learning phase, and you can actually try out a whole bunch of ads and put a cutoff point at that point in time. You should definitely not spend more than what you're getting. That's 100% not something that I'd recommend you do, at least initially. You shouldn't burn money. But as long as you are basically spending X amount of dollars and you're basically recovering X amount of dollars in revenue, that means you're null and void, right? So you're not in ROI negative, you're just ROI neutral. And that's a decent place to be in, at least in the initial few days, until you get to a point where you've really cracked the code and you know what will work with your audience, and then you can basically accelerate it from there, right? From there, that point on, you can have 2x the ROI, you can have 3x the ROI, and then it's just an upward funnel from there, right? Awesome. So, Pam, we have a question here from Hamza, who wants to know what's the best way to create custom events for Facebook Pixel? Can we do that?
So, yeah, so we covered that off earlier on. So it's more technical aspect of getting in there with the custom events. So once we're done here, you can go back. But if you stay true to the end, you'll get access to the free mini training that's going to walk you through how to set that up in the back end.
Sure. So I think we've got one more question to go, and then we'll actually give out the link for the free course. But Pam, I think it's about time that we actually speak about how Facebook Pixel and retargeting essentially lets you amplify things via lookalike audiences. I know we've just briefly brushed upon that subject, but do you want to tell us a bit about what lookalike audiences are and how does that completely change the game?
So lookalike audiences are your best friend when it comes to marketing, and you're trying to find people who are very similar to your current audiences. So this is where the whole power of the pixel comes in. So we've had the pixel on your site, you're tracking your actions, you're tracking all the data. So then you can go to Facebook with the audiences based on that and say, hey, Facebook, go find me people who look like the people who do say if you wanted to get your website audience or people who make purchases. So you're able to go and to ask Facebook to find the common traits that these people have in common, because Facebook knows everything about us. So they know the people who are very similar to us. So then they'll start showing your ads and your content to people who are more likely to take action because they're super close and they have so many commonalities. But with the lookalike audience, you can start at 1%, which I'd recommend. So 1% means they're the very closest to the data that you're giving Facebook. So that's the most lookalike of your audience. And you can go all the way out to 10. So I generally don't go as far as 5 on the lookalike audiences, but I would say don't even bother with that to the start. Go with 1. And then if you want to do a split test, you could probably say, okay, go to 2 and see. But the more you go out from the 1, the more Facebook is just grabbing like a variety of commonality. So it might not align directly with the people who do look like your clients. So I personally just go with 1% most of the time, unless I have like you're looking like you need more people into your audiences. So definitely go for the 1%, because it's so much easier. Like that guy was saying earlier on, like what you do when you don't have data. So if you can just use the like the little video funnel to build your audiences, then you're able to go and get more people who are similar to them, and it will help you kind of get there faster. But you do need to give Facebook the data in order to be able to get it.
Got it. So my takeaway from this was, again, guys, so there are 3 stages to this, right? And I'm just kind of going to do a quick recap. Number 1, get your pixel installed upfront so that at all points in time, it's constantly building real world data, right? This is not Facebook interfering in any way whatsoever. What it is doing is it's basically taking data from the real world, which is everyone who's visited your blog page, everyone who's visited your website, everyone who's added a product to their cart, everyone who's registered for a webinar, right? These are real world actions. They're super real, super tangible. Facebook Pixel will take all of that data and keep it with itself. And at one point in time, when you are ready to run ads, what you can do is you can leverage that and retarget the same set of people on Facebook, right? That's level 1. Level 2 can be that you can actually accelerate this process, and you can take some help from Facebook to kind of identify which audiences out there on Facebook that belongs to your target audience or your target group who are potentially your buyers, right? And how you can do that is you can run top of the funnel ads via video view ads or via via any form of awareness ads. I think the objective there is awareness, and you can again look at anyone and everyone who's engaging with your content there, right? And then again look at retargeting them, because that's like the second best audience. Like the probability of them buying is second as compared to your actual website visitors, right? And then there's a third layer, which is just a game changer, because that lets you get people out of nowhere, right? These are people who haven't even seen your content. These are people who haven't even visited your website, and you can just basically tap into that audience network just basis the first 2 data points, right? And that's where I feel the real power of the pixel and the real power of remarketing comes in. Pam, any last words that you want to add to this?
I just going to say to everybody, just get that pixel on your site and start tracking your custom events. So when you want to do ads, you have the data, and then it's going to save you money and make you more money. So yeah, don't get the whole pixel thing in your head with chatter and thinking it's over technical. Like, I'm going to break it out for you in the course, so it's going to make life really easy. But if that's your one task you're going to have done by the end of this week, you're going to have the Facebook pixel. And I'd love to see people going and posting their links saying they have their pixel in there, showing it to us and showing the proof that they've taken action and gone and done it.
Epic. I actually would want people to do that. So guys, everyone who's watching this, you can obviously tag Pam in all of your comments. You can ask her any specific questions that you would have. But I implore you to actually go and get this done for your website. If there's one thing that you would probably want to do in the last quarter of this year, if you haven't already done it, I assure you that when you start 2021, you'd be so much more you'd be so much more glad that you actually did this 3 months ago, right? With that, I actually wanted to give in the link for your course. So this is essentially Pam's free course. She's been kind enough to actually give us access to this. She's basically put up everything that we've spoken about today here, including the actual mechanics. Pam, do you have how many modules do you have for this? How many videos do you have up there?
So I'm just putting the finishing touches on it because I made it directly for the in-video community, because I don't want you guys to come here and then trying to scroll back and see what's going on. So it's going to show you how to install the Pixel on your website. You might have a Shopify store. It's going to show you that. It's going to show you all the way through to where we got to that stage when you're creating your lookalike audience and where the power of the Pixel when it comes to actually creating your first ad comes in. So it's just for you guys. Nobody else is getting this. I don't do courses. I don't do anything, but I did it for you guys.
Well, Pam, I think it'll be a brilliant idea for you to put out a course, given that how many people have actually asked us in the comments for an advanced course, or if Pam has another course. I think you're just on your way to probably creating one now that people would love it. But thanks a lot for taking the time and effort to do this for us. I know that you just specifically did this. I know our episode from last week actually got pushed to this week, but I'm so glad that we were able to finally sit down with you and get this done. And thank you so much for putting the course together. I know it's something that I will go back to for sure, because I mean it's a no nonsense, super tactical course that people can just straight up refer to and get it done in the shortest time possible. I also want to let people know how they can reach out to you. I see Joe already wants to know that. He wants to know, does Pam have an FB page? Pam, what is the best way for them to reach out to you?
Yeah, it's just Vibrant Marketing Online. So once we're done here, I'll pop it into the comments. So then if anybody wants to follow along, I'm at Conversations 2020 this week, learning all about messenger marketing. So that's probably what I'll be posting a lot about this week.
So that's Vibrant Marketing Online on Facebook, correct?
Yeah. You should be able to find me there.
I'm actually going to...
Or if you're on LinkedIn or anything.
Go ahead. So that's Vibrant Marketing Online. You can actually search for that on Facebook. You can search for that on LinkedIn. That's something that Pam has found. And yeah, she's an expert on not just Facebook marketing and Pixel, but she's also an expert at bot marketing. She's actually one of the forefronts when it comes to bot marketing. And as we speak, she's actually attending a conference where she's leveling up so she can bring us the best of that world. So Pam, we'd love to actually have you back on the show sometime where you can talk about that side of the business and kind of take us through that. We actually have Molly joining us this Friday. Is going to kind of do a bot 101 webinar. So hopefully in about a couple of months or so, when that's something that has gotten older and there are enough changes in that ecosystem, I'd love for you to come back on the show and kind of take our audience through that.
Yeah, I love me some chatbots and Facebook ads. So it's all good.
Epic. Awesome. So Shada, you haven't missed it. You will have the live recording right here after the live is done. So you will be able to access the recording and you will be able to go through everything. We're also going to share the videos again on the community so that they should be up in the next 3 to 4 hours as soon as we're done wrapping up here. And once again, for everyone who wants to get their hands on the course, that's the URL. It's vibrantmarketing.net/pixel. Right. With that, Pam, I think it's about time that we wrap up. We're 5 minutes here, and I mean, I've had an epic show. I've learned so much, and I'm hoping that everyone who joined us did as well. Guys, if you did enjoy this and if you feel that this was valuable, I implore you to please share this with more people. Right? It's not something that a lot of people are talking about out there. It's not something that is readily available, and that's essentially why you're finding so much value in this. Right? So all you have to do is just take the link for this particular live stream and share it with anyone that you want to share this access with. All they have to do is join the community. So obviously, when they click on that link, they will first be asked to join the community. They can do that. They'll get a whole ton of value just with the community as well. and then obviously post that they will be, as soon as they're accepted, they will be able to access this live stream as well as all the other resources that we are going to share on the community. Awesome. Thanks a lot, Pam, for doing this again, and I hope you had fun.
Yeah, no, I had a great time. So everybody, go get your pixel on.
Awesome. Pam, just stick around for a minute while I bid goodbye to everyone, and then I'm just going to be there with you in exactly a minute. Thank you, Mark. Thank you, David. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, everyone who's basically joined us today. This was super awesome. Thank you so much for dropping in your questions. I hope we were able to answer them. Pam's going to stick around, so you can drop in your questions in the comments below, and we'll see you on Friday. We've got another session that we planned out with Molly, wherein we are going to cover something that is equally tactical, if not more, which is Facebook Messenger bots. Right now, that's again a completely different game changer. If you thought the Facebook Pixel is something that is super impactful, you would be amazed at what Messenger bots can do for your business. Right? It's again a very, very efficient way for you to retarget people that engage with your page and so on and so forth. We are actually implementing one for InVideo as we speak right now to get more people to come and watch our episodes and things like that. So that's why I thought it'd be a perfect ending to the week on a Friday, right? So it's at 10 AM PST on Friday. Come catch that live, and then you can basically head off to your weekend knowing that you've achieved so much this week, right? With that, this is me signing off. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining in. Up until next time, you guys have a great day ahead.